The mantis shrimp.
It looks like someone took a shrimp, gave it a paint job from a fever dream, and then handed it the most violent fists in the ocean. It's roughly the size of your finger. It lives on the seafloor across the Indo-Pacific.
And it punches.
Not metaphorically.
It punches.
The peacock mantis shrimp, Odontodactylus cillaris, strikes with its clubs at speeds up to 23 meters per second. While the absolute speed isn't faster than a bullet, its acceleration is, striking with the same explosive acceleration as a .22 caliber bullet leaving a gun barrel. The strike generates forces up to 1,500 newtons from an animal that weighs less than 200 grams. Researchers at UC Berkeley who measured this in 2004 described it as one of the fastest and most powerful strikes in the animal kingdom relative to body size. The clubs don't just hit. They create a cavitation bubble, a pocket of near vacuum that collapses on impact with a second shockwave.
The prey gets hit twice, once by the club,
once by the physics. Mantis shrimp have destroyed aquarium glass.
Not cracked.
Destroyed. And then there's the vision. Humans have 3 types of photoreceptors. The mantis shrimp has 16. Scientists initially assumed this meant they saw the world in incomprehensible color. They were wrong in a more interesting way. A 2014 study published in Science found that mantis shrimp actually have worse color discrimination than humans in many situations. The 16 receptors don't work like an upgrade. They work like a parallel processing system, identifying colors by which receptor fires rather than comparing signals. Their eyes function more like a barcode scanner than a camera. They are also the only known animals to perceive circularly polarized light, which has applications in cancer cell detection because cancer cells reflect light differently than healthy tissue. A shrimp-sized creature solved a vision problem that has engineers actively working to replicate it. It also breaks aquarium glass before breakfast. The star-nosed mole. It looks like something went wrong. 22 pink fleshy tentacles arranged in a ring around its nose, constantly writhing, constantly probing. The face of a nightmare attached to a small gray body that moves through soggy soil across the wetlands of eastern North America. What those tentacles are doing is faster than anything else in the mammal world. The star-nosed mole, Condylura cristata, is the fastest forager on Earth. In 2005, neuroscientist Kenneth Catania at Vanderbilt University published research using high-speed cameras showing the mole could identify, capture, and swallow a food item in as little as 120 milliseconds. Its average foraging stop is just 230 milliseconds. To put that in perspective, a human takes about 650 milliseconds just to react to a traffic light. The star has 25,000 sensory receptors called Eimer's organs packed into a surface roughly 1 centimeter across. It can touch 10 to 12 different locations per second. More than 50% of the mole's entire cerebral cortex is dedicated to processing information from that nose alone. It also hunts underwater. Despite only holding its breath for short periods, it blows bubbles onto objects and then inhales them back to smell scent molecules underwater. The only mammal documented doing this.
It is functionally blind.
It has almost no eyes worth mentioning. It lives in total darkness. And it is Guinness certified as the world's fastest forager. The star-nosed mole navigates and hunts at speeds that push the physical limits of neuron transmission. Its brain made a trade. It gave up sight entirely and built the most sensitive touch organ any mammal has ever operated.
The manatee.
It moves through shallow coastal waters at about 5 miles per hour.
It eats seagrass.
It weighs up to 1,200 pounds. It was mistaken for mermaids by sailors for centuries, which says something about the quality of those long ocean crossings. Here's what those sailors didn't know. The West Indian manatee, Trichicus manatus, is one of only 2 mammals on Earth with an irregular number of neck vertebrae. Every other mammal, giraffe, whale, human, rat, has 7 neck vertebrae. Manatees have 6. Scientists believe this is directly connected to their low metabolic rate, a metabolic system so slow that their body temperature tracks almost perfectly with the water around them, making them highly vulnerable to cold stress below 60° F. They eat roughly 120 pounds of vegetation per day,
10% of their body weight,
every single day, and they have no natural predators.
None.
A 1,200-pound aquatic mammal that moves at 5 miles per hour, in warm coastal waters, with nothing in the ocean that hunts it. The leading cause of manatee death is boat propellers. Roughly half of all West Indian manatee deaths are human-caused. Their speed cannot save them, their size cannot save them, and they are so slow that they cannot move out of the path of a boat in time, even when they detect it. There are approximately 5,700 to 7,500 West Indian manatees alive as of recent surveys. The only creature that threatens them evolved in the last few centuries. Everything before that, they handled fine.
The ocean sunfish.
The ocean sunfish, Mola mola, looks like someone drew a fish and forgot to finish it.
No tail.
Just a massive flat oval body, 2 enormous fins pointing up and down, and an expression that suggests it knows exactly how strange it looks. It is the heaviest bony fish on Earth. Large individuals can reach up to 14 feet tall and weigh close to 5,000 pounds. For context, that's comparable to the weight of a full-grown rhinoceros. It moves at about 2 miles per hour.
Cruising. Drifting.
Occasionally basking sideways at the ocean surface like a floating manhole cover. Scientists initially assumed mola mola was entirely at the mercy of ocean currents. Tracking data proved them wrong. Individuals have been recorded swimming 16 miles in a single day, diving to depths beyond 600 meters to hunt jellyfish and zooplankton in cold water, then surfacing to bask and reheat their muscles. The basking is thermal regulation. The diving depletes their body heat. The sun recharges it. They carry up to 40 different species of parasites. Some of those parasites have their own parasites. The sunfish's response is to invite cleaner fish to pick them off at reef cleaning stations, and to breach, launching its massive body partially out of the water, in an attempt to shake parasites loose by impact. A fish the size and weight of a rhino jumping out of the ocean to shake off hitchhikers. This happens regularly. No one filmed it until recently because no one expected it.
The pistol shrimp.
In the shallow tropical waters of every ocean on Earth, something small is generating temperatures that briefly rival the surface of the sun. Across every reef, tidal flat, and seagrass bed, colonies of these creatures create a non-stop acoustic crossfire. The alphiid shrimp, pistol shrimp, snaps one oversized claw shut so fast that it creates a cavitation bubble reaching approximately 8,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The sun's surface is around 9,940 degrees Fahrenheit. For a fraction of a millisecond, the bubble reaches temperatures in that extreme range before collapsing. The collapse produces a shock wave loud enough to stun or kill prey. Measured at the source, the snap reaches around 218 decibels. A jet engine at close range produces about 140. This is the loudest biological sound made by a single animal relative to its size. Submarine sonar operators have logged pistol shrimp as interference on their equipment. Colonies of pistol shrimp snapping simultaneously can create enough acoustic interference to disrupt underwater communication systems, and some species don't live alone. Alpheus bellulus, the tiger pistol shrimp, lives in a documented symbiosis with the shrimp goby. The shrimp is nearly blind. The goby has perfect vision but cannot dig. The shrimp digs and maintains the burrow. The goby stands guard and provides the alarm response.
When the goby ducks, the shrimp follows.
Neither survives as well alone. An animal that generates solar surface temperatures using a shrimp claw. That also invented joint tenancy.
The wolverine.
The wolverine gullo gullo weighs between 20 and 55 pounds. It is classified as a mustelid, the same family as weasels and otters. Its closest visual comparison in most people's minds is a small bear. It has been documented killing animals 10 times its size.
Caribou. Moose calves.
Animals it should have no business confronting. It doesn't win through speed. Its top speed is around 30 miles per hour in short bursts. It wins through an almost complete refusal to give up. Researchers tracking wolverines have documented single individuals covering more than 500 miles in a few weeks across mountainous terrain through deep snow. One GPS-tagged male traveled 500 miles in 42 days through the Rocky Mountains. Wolverines have been observed running down prey through deep snow until the prey's larger body breaks through the crust repeatedly while the wolverine's low, dense build keeps it on top. Their jaws produce bite forces that crack through frozen carcasses. They are scavengers who can access food that wolves and bears cannot reach because it's frozen solid. The wolverine's musk glands produce a secretion so potent it earned the alternate name skunk bear. It marks territory, signals to mates, and deters virtually every other predator from its food cache. They live across boreal forests from Scandinavia to Alaska. Population numbers have declined significantly due to climate change. Wolverines rely on deep persistent snowpack for denning. As that snowpack shrinks, so does viable wolverine habitat. A 40-pound animal documented confronting grizzly bears over carcasses and winning. The Japanese spider crab. In the deep coastal waters off Japan's Pacific coast, there is a crab with a leg span of up to 12 feet.
12 feet.
That's wider than a standard parking space. Macrocheira caremphori is the largest arthropod on Earth by leg span, and it can live for up to 100 years. It weighs up to 42 pounds despite being mostly leg. It moves along the seafloor at depths between 160 and 2,000 feet, scavenging plant material, shellfish, and the bodies of whatever has died and drifted down. The shell doesn't grow with it. Like all crustaceans, the Japanese spider crab periodically molts, sheds its entire exoskeleton, and produces a new larger one. While the new shell hardens, the crab is soft and completely defenseless. During this period, which can last weeks, a 12-foot creature is vulnerable to almost anything. Some individuals camouflage themselves with kelp and sponge during molting. Others simply hide and wait. Its legs regenerate. A lost limb grows back over subsequent molts, smaller at first, then full size. An animal the size of a small car on the seafloor, regrowing limbs. Fishermen have caught Japanese spider crabs showing healed wounds that suggest they survived attacks by deep-sea predators. The mathematics of surviving to 100 years on the ocean floor, while periodically being completely soft, are sobering.
The axolotl.
The axolotl, Ambystoma mexicanum, is a salamander that never grows up. Most amphibians go through metamorphosis, tadpole to frog, larva to adult. The axolotl reaches sexual maturity and reproduces while keeping its larval form for life. Feathery external gills.
Flat wide head. Permanent juvenile body.
This is called neoteny, and in the axolotl it appears to be permanent under normal conditions. What it can do with that body is what makes it scientifically extraordinary. The axolotl can regenerate. Not scar tissue, actual functional tissue regeneration. A lost limb grows back with bone, muscle, nerve and skin, correctly positioned and fully functional. A damaged section of heart muscle regenerates. Parts of the brain regenerate. Researchers have transplanted sections of axolotl brains into other individuals and observed the animals adapting to the transplanted tissue. A 2019 study sequencing the axolotl genome, the largest animal genome ever sequenced, roughly 10 times larger than the human genome, identified genes active during regeneration that have human equivalents that are mostly switched off. The molecular machinery may exist in human biology. It is simply not operational. The axolotl is critically endangered. It is native to a single lake system, Lake Xochimilco, in Mexico City. Urbanization, pollution, and the introduction of non-native fish have reduced wild populations to estimates between 50 and 1,000 individuals. The animal that may hold the key to human tissue regeneration exists primarily in laboratory tanks and home aquariums. Wild axolotls may be effectively functionally extinct. The science they're providing continues regardless. The Greenland shark. There is a shark alive in the North Atlantic right now that was born before the American Revolution. The Greenland shark, Somniosus microcephalus, moves at an average cruising speed of 0.76 miles per hour. That is slower than a person walking to the kitchen. It ranges from surface to depths over 7,200 feet across the Arctic and North Atlantic, eating whatever happens to be in front of it: seals, fish, squid, and according to documented stomach contents, reindeer that have fallen through Arctic ice. Its lifespan was established by radiocarbon dating of proteins in the eye lens, proteins that form before birth and are never replaced. The same technique used to date archaeological artifacts. Scientists applied it to a living animal. The oldest individual measured was estimated at 392 years, with an uncertainty range placing its birth potentially as early as 1272 CE. It reaches sexual maturity at approximately 150 years old. Due to their slow development, scientists estimate their gestation period could potentially last for several years, though tracking it in the wild remains incredibly difficult. The oldest Greenland shark alive waited longer to reach reproductive age than the entire recorded history of the United States has existed. Its flesh is toxic when fresh. Trimethylamine oxide in the tissue causes neurological symptoms in humans and other animals. Icelanders ferment it for months to neutralize the toxins and produce hakarl, a traditional food that most first-time visitors describe with language not suitable for this script. Its genome contains multiple duplicated copies of DNA repair genes, which researchers believe slow cellular damage accumulation. Same mechanism, different species, slow metabolism, slow oxidation, slow aging. 500 years of apex predation. Never once in a hurry. The ocean keeps running the same experiment. Slow down enough and you get to keep going.